They had a 15-point lead. Do you realize, J-Mo, they had in the fourth quarter, which they only scored 12 points, and the overtime, they had 6 buckets made and 11 turnovers. A total of 20 turnovers. J-Mo, do you realize your guy was the biggest culprit for Minnesota?
Who's my guy?
Come on. Who's the guy that I totally missed on and said would be a bust? Your
Anthony
guy.
Edwards?
Anthony Edwards. You know what Anthony Edwards shot last night?
Very bad.
3 of 17. It's hard to go 3 of 17. He was 0 from three-point range. 0 for 9 from three-point range. And he had 4 turnovers, most of those at critical times late in the game. Oh, it was a shame. Anthony Davis, LeBron James, they combined for 54 points and 25 rebounds. And Mike Conley was unreal. Mike Conley had 23 points. He had 3 points with .1 left on the clock when he got fouled by Anthony Davis. That was described by LeBron James as a brain fart. They're up 3, and they've got, I want to say it was like 1.4 left. That was it. And that was a great pass, and somehow Conley got free in the right corner. And he goes and he takes a 3, and as he's coming down, Anthony Davis backs into him. He does. You got to make that call. 3 free throws. The first one hits front of the rim, caroms over, and goes through. Wow. Then he drains the other 2. We go to overtime, and the Lakers were the better team in the overtime. So the Grizz get the Lakers starting Sunday at 2, and they're the slight favorites. They're minus 130 to win the series. They are 3.5-point favorites opening line for the game Sunday, national TV, and the place will be packed, 2 o'clock, FedEx Forum. I cannot wait. 108-102, the final. Atlanta beat Miami. Boy, Trae Young is so important to that team. I don't know where the disconnect with the former coach who's no longer there, Quinn Snyder's now their coach, but there was a total disconnect with Trae Young, but this team can't function without Trae Young. There's no doubt. And then Clint Capella, he had 21 rebounds last night. I thought he had more than that. Every offensive rebound he seemed to get, they killed him on the boards, and that is how they beat Miami. So the Grizz will take on the Lakers. Tonight we got a couple of games. The home teams are the favorites by 5.5. That's Toronto over Chicago and New Orleans over the Pelicans. And those winners will play the losers from last night for the 8 seed. So the 7 seeds now we know are Atlanta in the East and the Lakers in the West, and the best of 7. I'm really glad it's a best of 7 series. Remember, those first-round series used to be best of 5. They're best of 7. That is exactly what you want. It is going to be a lot of fun. We got to talk some Major League Baseball, and TJ Reeves returns on a regular basis. Haven't quite figured out the total spot for him. He's going to join us in about 5 minutes. We'll talk with him. We're going to talk Grizz and Lakers and NBA with the TV voice of the Grizz. That's Pete Pranica. He joins us at 10:25, and then we make golf picks. Holy smokes! I don't know that I've ever seen this kind of domination. Would you care to share? Because otherwise, it just sounds like bragging. Would you care to share,
After
J-Mo?
saying I've never seen this kind of domination.
Would you care to share the numbers after week 1?
I would be happy to. I'll go bottom to top because I think that makes it stand out more. Mickey is in last place, only 1 week through, though, 201,600 for him. I'm in third place, 616,320 for me. And Johnny Lyon, 836,000.
Defending champion picker.
Defending champion, 836,880 in second place. And in first place, with nearly a $5 million lead, Dave Woloshin, 5,670,000.
Wow.
Unbelievable start.
So Mickey goes first. J-Mo, you are actually out of that slot.
Not by much, though.
You go second, Johnny third, and I'll go last. That'll be the last segment of the show. I almost missed this show today, or at least the start of it, because it took so long to fill out my application for the showboats to go see the showboats and cover them. It's crazy. They got this new technology that just makes it hard. Why can't you just say, here it is, take me? You got to upload a photo. It's just crazy. I didn't have a photo really on my I got them on my phone. I didn't have them in my computer. Got to pick out a thing. I had to figure this out. Pick out a photo. Send it to my email. Save it as something. Then upload it. It was nuts. Took me like an hour. Crazy. But we got it.
You have to be one of the few credentialed media members for both the old showboats and the new showboats. Brett Northworthy talks about that. You and he, and I think there's one other person he always mentions. That's a very elite company you guys are in.
I wonder if Mike Sadie would be one. Jarvis Greer, I don't think I don't know, he's working for him, so he would be another. I don't know. Who else would it be?
I've trouble thinking of who it would be, but a very elite company.
I don't know if Calkins was around then. Certainly Giannotto was not. I don't know if anybody, who the beat writer was Ron Higgins.
Really?
For the commercial
Well,
appeal.
we got to get
there
Ron.
was no Daily Memphian.
We got to get Ron back in town so he can go to opening day for the old showboats and the new showboats.
Who else? That could be it. Bobby Hall's still around, but he's not working, so I doubt could go as a fan. Larry Ray.
I think it's some kind of celebration. We'll work. I'll call my showboats intel today, and we'll get something worked out. Some kind of on-field celebration.
If Brett is listening, who else could there be? Because there's somebody else that I didn't mention.
I think you might have named them all. I don't always know the names that he's talking about, but there's a very few that he always names that would have gone to the start of both.
Well, John Ganazzo could be working the stats for both. He was around then. I don't know. Interesting for sure. We've got so much to cover today. Brady White, by the way, is going to be the showboat starting quarterback. I'm really happy for him. He was with that team, played for Todd Haley last year, and, he did not start last year. I think he was third string, and so he knows the system. He's beat out the two guys. They are Ryan Willis, and a guy that played at Arkansas was FCS, I think, Player of the Year as a quarterback at Southeastern Louisiana, Cole Kelly. All three could play, and there are some different rules, like they're going to wind the clock after incomplete passes in the first and the third, and really same thing in the second and fourth except for the last 5 minutes. They want these games to be right about 3 hours, I guess, is what they're hoping for. And the kickoffs go from the 20-yard line. They're hoping to have 90% returns. The kick team can't leave. They have to be in their stance until the ball is kicked, so there's no real movement there. And the kick return team has to be at the start, except for the returner. 8 or 9 guys have to be 10 yards from the ball. So they want a lot of kickoff returns. So there you go on that. Rays win again. We're going to talk with TJ Reeves about that in a second. But here's how smart Major League Baseball is. I love the new rules because they have shortened the games. And there's a little bit more offense with no shift. Balls going through the infield. Numbers are up there. Stolen bases are up. But here's the thing. The games are shorter. You know what that's done?
Pitcher's getting tired. I don't know.
No. It is cut the time that people are drinking. They're losing their revenue from alcohol sales. So baseball, always smart, right? Not always smart, but they are in this regard. You know what they've done, J-Mo?
Open the park sooner?
No, but kind of. It's the opposite way.
Stay open later.
They are extending alcohol sales through the 8th inning now instead of the 7th.
I like that.
Baseball, always evolving. We're sitting in the Family Leisure studio. Don't forget, we got some new stuff happening there. Finally, say goodbye to the preseason sale, but they're always enticing you because they got the vacation at home sale with the lowest prices in town on pools, free liner upgrades with pool purchase during the sale, and spas. You can save up to $1,000 off the in-stock spas. I was in there getting chemicals. It's gorgeous in there. Get to I-40 and Whidden Road. Vacation at home. That sale is on at Family Leisure. And I'm so happy to announced that back with us for another year, for another golf season. I get to talk about the beauty and the challenge and everything that is so good about Miramichi Golf Course that is up in Woodstock, really about 12 to 15 minutes from downtown. Everybody thinks, oh my gosh, it's in Millington, it's way out. No, it's not. It's in Woodstock. It's not as far as Millington, and it's literally 12 minutes away from downtown on 51. And it is worth going out there, ladies and gentlemen, because it's so beautiful. And Cheryl Purdue and all the people out there, Cordell, they wanted me to let you know there's still a deal on memberships. If you wanted to become a member, I mean, it's fairly priced as it is, especially for the great golf product you're going to get. But if you would like a membership, you tell them you heard it from Wolo, you're into it, and they'll tell you all the terms and the details. Just get a hold of all the good folks at Miramichi. It's starting to look pretty out in Woodstock. I know it's pretty in Tampa. Man, I've missed talking to this guy on a regular basis, but he's back now because he just made so much money on all the gambling shows he's doing.
I surface like a bad virus or the weeds, now that the spring is out and the weeds are everywhere. I resurface. You don't even need to water me, and I show back up.
That's what we love about you.
How are you feeling?
I'm over the shock of FAU, if that's what you mean. I'm okay with that. Trying to get my golf game into form.
And how's that going, by the way, these days?
It's not bad. It's not, I've been worse. I've been better.
Hey, if Phil can put it together at nearly 53 years of age, like he did on Sunday, there's hope for all of us.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you think Sunday helped to restore the image of Phil Mickelson? I haven't seen a guy that went from glamour boy to like wrestling heel as quickly as he did.
It's true, and he kind of was embracing the wrestling heel thing.
Oh, he was.
Very
well,
appropriate.
I think he did in Augusta too. I thought it was very nervy of him, honestly, and did not turn me on at all. I still have a problem with him, but I'm wondering about the rest of the world. When
it's just like anything else.
He wore those live colors, the team logo. I mean, that was definitely, well, he doesn't have any sponsors anymore, so he had to wear something. But that, to me, was definitely a slap in the face of the PGA, I think. And I don't think that was smart of him. Of course, I don't know if he cares.
Well, yeah, at this point, that's a valid point, the last thing you said. So there's several layers to it, and I know we got to get to the baseball team down here and how they're doing.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there are two or three important things. The first thing is, if you win and if you succeed, you're going to be beloved. Look at the crowds now cheering for Tiger Woods, and we've been over this. I've talked with you for 20 years on your show on the ebb and flow of Tiger Woods' dominance of the sport, and then the catastrophic personal problems and the fall from grace. And we wondered on your shows and have talked about this. Would the public embrace him again? And what do we keep talking about? If you start to win and you start to succeed, the sporting public, the fans, by and large, forgive. And they're there roaring for everything you do if you come back and if you succeed. And so you saw that again Sunday is the point with Phil. Once he began to make some birdies and suddenly he is shooting up the leaderboard from 10th to 8th to 4th, now nobody cares about the private war between the millionaire players and the billionaire entity that is the PGA Tour. They care about the golf and the excitement. So we saw that. And for these major championships, this is the point, for the Masters, for the PGA Championship next month, for the U.S. Open coming in June, and even for the Open Championship in England, their event cares about attention for it, money for it, the legacy of it. And so, the war between the millionaire and now the multimillionaire players and the billionaire entity, the PGA Tour, takes a back seat to what's in the best interest for us as a major championship that's not affiliated with the PGA Tour. And I know you do a great job of articulating those are different things. The Masters, the PGA Champ, they don't have anything to do with the PGA Tour and their money, and it's their event. It's their event. And so I think it was neat to see it come together, and maybe there can be some reconciliation later on. I know from the Live Golf guys' standpoint, they just want access to those majors and to the World Golf Ranking points that help them get into those majors, and they will go on their separate way and do their thing, and maybe it sustains for a while, and maybe it fizzles out. So that's what the current battle is over. But it was some great theater for a while on Sunday. It was grueling. I thought it was fascinating how they played in such awful weather on Saturday, and 24 hours later, you're playing in the gorgeous conditions that you're accustomed to with Augusta. It looked like a totally different scenario, and these guys had to handle it, and the one that handled it the best was John Rahm. And he deserves all the credit.
Oh, he does. I'm happy for John Rahm. Some of these guys that are Ryder Cup fans have a hard time embracing John Rahm. I don't. He went to school in this country. He married an American girl. He's got two children that are Americans, and he's the best golfer in the world.
And 2 or 3 other fascinating points. I don't know how much you know this, but I know this from all the circles being around PGA Tour radio and doing coverage, etc. John Rahm learned to speak English how? Rap music and cartoons.
Wow.
2 of the quickest ways to learn the English language. One has considerably more vulgarity and is more adult themed than the other, but I'm just putting that out there. And here's another interesting thing. John Rahm was recruited by and played golf for whom at Arizona State?
Phil Mickelson's brother.
Phil Mickelson's brother. And Tim Mickelson saw years ago what we now have come to see and come to understand. So much so he saw it that he quit as the Arizona State golf coach and became John Rahm's agent.
Right.
So that tells you about that whole relationship. And again, I know you spend a lot of time. You're passionate about golf. I enjoy golf. I mean, folks, there were 15 million people watching in the 6 p.m. Memphis time hour, 7 Eastern time, right before 60 minutes. 15 million that were watching that Masters finish. And Phil had a little bit to do with it, and the Koepka collapse had a little bit to do with it. A lot of it had to do with Rahm, but we have come to appreciate that event. We know those holes. We know about the history of the guys that have won and what they did on those holes. I mean, that's what the draw is, and 15 million is a staggering number that a lot of other sports are profoundly jealous of trying to get that, and that's how many people were watching Easter Sunday, for the end of the Masters.
All right, so the Rays win again, 4 home runs last night against Boston, 7-2. The 11-0 start is the best start in baseball since 1987.
All right, now wait a minute.
When the Milwaukee Brewers were
I got to put this
13-0.
out there. 1987, TJ is about to be a senior in high school. Wolo's on the scene doing Memphis radio. You and I had not met yet. I had not come to school yet. Memphis was suddenly starting to learn the name Penny Hardaway because he was at Treadwell High School, right, in and around that time. That is Ronald Reagan's the president. Gas is less than $1 a gallon. That's the last time anybody won 11 games in a row to start a Major League Baseball season. The Milwaukee Brewers of 1987. And look, we are having a blast with this down here. I don't know if it ends tonight. I don't think it does. I think they're going to probably find a way to get to 12-0 and make it crazier with the Red Sox, because the Red Sox are reeling at the moment after what the Rays did to them last night. But, I mean, I have no preconceived notion to tell you that this is a 100-win Tampa Bay Rays team. I don't know that they have the lineup for it. They certainly have starting pitching. But this is a blast down here with what's going on and the attention this has now gathered over the last 5 or 6 days as they continue to win, Wolo.
Well, they're doing it with really good pitching for the most part, and this wonderful shortstop, this second-year guy who's, 20 years old?
Wander Franco is his name. Switch hitting, shortstop, can't miss prospect. He's the best player. Is it
Wander or Wonder?
Wander, yes, like wander through the wilderness. Sometimes happens on segments when I'm on with you. You have to wander and get me back on track.
But
Wander Franco.
He is like you. He's a wonder.
Well, he could be, yes, but he's Wander. And Wander is the real deal. And they've got an outstanding outfielder in Randy Arozarena that's made some big postseason moments for them. He is an excellent defensive outfielder. He's fast. He's hitting. But again, they don't have household names. They have good starting pitching, and this is a lot of fun. I mean, they put this stat out earlier this morning. In the history of baseball, there has never been a team that starts the year 11 games in and has 28 home runs and 20 or fewer overall runs allowed. The Rays have 28 home runs in 11 games, and they've allowed only 20 runs in 11 games. So these are crazy. These are crazy stats.
Right.
And one more fun one. The game Monday night with the Red Sox, to your point about the beer sales and the alcohol sales,
Yeah.
2 hours and 6 minutes.
Wow.
2 hours and 6 minutes from opening pitch till final out in the top of the ninth in a 1-0 game.
And that was 4 home runs.
No, that was the one. No, we're talking about the 1-0 game on Monday night. Monday night,
Monday
1-0
night.
game.
Night.
2
Okay.
hours 6 minutes. The game started at like 6:35 Eastern time and was over with at 8:41 Eastern time. So you're right about trying to get the alcohol.
Right.
I mean, when is the last time baseball had a 2 hour complete? I mean, it would be a 5-inning game back in the day. The Red Sox and Yankees have been incapable of playing in under 3 hours for like 3 decades.
No, that is crazy. You know who really loves that, honestly, is the entertainment districts outside the ballpark that they now have.
True.
Everywhere. And last thing, you weren't getting ready for this one, but you're a hockey guy. I watched your Lightning lose one to
they're floundering.
To the
Maple
Leafs last night.
The good ship Stanley Cup title playoff hopes is taking on water right now.
But what about Boston? I never mentioned this, and we need to mention it. I did have them in medals yesterday, but they did it last night. They beat the Washington Capitals 5-2, so they have had the greatest single season in the history of the National Hockey League that goes back over 100 years. 64 wins now, and 133 points, breaks the Montreal Canadiens record of 76-77. Listen to this record. They finished 64-12-5. That is incredible.
They clinched the playoffs like 3 weeks ago.
Oh, I know.
Or 4 weeks ago. They could have lost every game and still been in the playoffs. They've had a ridiculous regular season. They've beaten the Lightning, obviously, just like everybody else, a couple of times recently. But here's the real story. What happens now in the second season, as you know? Because now you're playing one team specifically for the next 4, 5, 6 games over the course of a week and a half, and we will find out. The perfect example, the Lightning, the team that they broke the record from, the Lightning had 62 wins in the 2019 season, and they got swept, humiliatingly swept, by the Columbus Blue Jackets. And that's all anybody wanted to talk about. The regular season completely down the toilet after what you did. So now it's up to the Bruins. What do you do in the second season? Because as I keep joking with a couple of different people that are big Boston fans, you aren't going to hang a banner that says best record in the NHL. If you do, it's kind of silliness. You're going to hang a banner that says Stanley Cup playoff appearance, Stanley Cup champion. That's what matters.
Who was the really good team last year? Was it like Minnesota? I can't remember for sure.
The Panthers.
Or the Panthers that were unbelievable in the regular season and lost like in 4 or 5 in the first round.
To the Lightning, correct.
Wiped out.
The regular season is a different animal, and now we'll see who's built for playoff hockey. It should be a lot of fun. I know down here there's a lot of concern because Toronto wants revenge. The Lightning knocked them out last year, winning the 7th game in Toronto. That was maybe a preview last night where Toronto beat the Lightning again. So we'll see what happens in that one. But, yeah, it'll be interesting with the playoff hockey and everything else that's going on. You got NBA, you got the Grizzlies, I know, in that market that are anxious to now face off with the Lakers. And here we go. Here we go with everything, including the golf.
He's our guy. It's TJ Reeves. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate it. We'll talk to you next week. Not sure what day yet, but there will be a day.
Whenever you need me. Whenever you need me, I will be here for you. And again, 1987 is the last time somebody was 12-0. And how about the Yankees, Dodgers, Cardinals? None of those teams ever won the first 10, 11, 12 games of any season. That's incredible. You boys do well.
Here's one other thing to point out. That Milwaukee Brewers team that went 13-0 in 1987 did not make the playoffs.
Did not make the playoffs. That's right. They did win 91 games.
I know.
But it was 2 divisions, no wild card. They didn't make the playoffs. That's true. The last two teams to get to 9-0 and make the World Series won the World Series. That's the Reds and the Detroit Tigers.
Unfortunately,
the World Series is on the moon. The World Series is on Pluto.
You're past that already. You're past 9-0. Forget that.
All right, well, but the World Series is on Pluto for this team. Let's just have fun in the short term and see if it gets to 12-0 tonight. You boys do well.
Thank you, TJ. Bye. That's our man. He's brought to you by Old Dominic. I'm going to start talking about Grind City Brewing here in the next few weeks. I love Tiger Tail. I love their Poppy's Pilsner. I love those products. But I got to tell you still, while you have the chance this week, get down and see the folks at Old Dominic. Try the new whiskey. They got a bottle and bond. They got a sipping whiskey that Alex Castle, their master distiller, has finally released. Hey, she never releases it till it's perfect. This stuff is great. And be careful. You know what bottle and bond means? It has to be at least 100 proof. And it's by the government recognized, bottle in bond. And they got it at Old Dominic. They got great vodka. I mean, they've got it all, and they got a great tour where you'll learn the history about Domenico Canali, and you can see exactly how they make it all. It's a very interesting thing, and with the tasting after in their bar, which is open to everybody, by the way. Don't take a tour to be in the bar. You'll love it all. It's right there on Main Street. It's Memphis's distillery. It is Old Dominic. And you know our title sponsor, that's Homer Skelton Hyundai in Olive Branch, where right now, if you go see Vinny Gerard, he's over the Genesis cars. You go see Vinny and say, I want to talk about the G70 deal. That's the smaller sedan. If you finance with Genesis, why wouldn't you? It's a fair rate. They'll give you a $1,000 rebate. It's really like they're paying you to do business with them at Homer Skelton Hyundai. Right there at Highway 78 in the first exit in Mississippi. That is Craft Road. Back in a minute, we talk basketball with Pete Pranica, the TV voice of the Grizz. The Lakers are coming. What does Pete think? He's next.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. In these uncertain economic times, there are so many things as a contractor and a business owner that I cannot control. The rising cost of materials, not to mention fuel and transportation costs. In the last 2 years, shingle prices have almost doubled and commercial materials have doubled. And I don't have to tell you what fuel costs these days. But you know what I can control? How much markup I put on a project. I have always prided myself in knowing I never gouge a customer. But in an effort to ensure my crews have work and my customers are being treated fairly, I have lowered my profit margin, hoping to give you a price you can live with and keeping my crews busy. So if you need a roof or gutters, please give us a call. Five Ash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. Five Ash Roofing, a proud sponsor of Tiger Athletics and a member of the Tigers home team. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Simple, smooth, and every sip as easy as the last. Tito's handmade vodka tastes just as good with tap water as it does with your favorite mixer. Back in the day, Tito distilled, hand-bottled, taste-tested, sent to a few friends, then taste-tested again to give you the finest juice around. No frills, no flavors, no fancy labels, just the good stuff. Just Tito's. For recipes, videos, and more, visit Tito'sVodka.com. Distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas, 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof, crafted to be savored responsibly.
Gear up for spring staffs with Indeed. Their powerful hiring platform makes it easy to attract, interview, and hire candidates. Sponsor a job and instantly receive a short list of quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Looking for a great home-cooked late lunch with meat and veggies? Make sure to stop into 10th Inning Sports Bar and Grill Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. for baked and fried chicken, hamburger steaks, chicken dumplings, catfish, and more with yummy vegetables. Plus a great brunch on the weekends from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. 10th Inning Grill has plenty of TVs for all your favorite sports. Visit them on Facebook to see the daily specials. 10th Inning Sports Bar and Grill, voted best sports bar in DeSoto County, Gidwell Road, South Haven.
Now, back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Oh, yeah, it's grit and grind time in Memphis, and Dinstall's is celebrating the playoffs. You can stop by and pick up your favorite sweet treats. I think their signature, that's Cashew Crunch. Let's start there. Then, and I'm always torn because I'm not sure which I really like more, the Crunch or Turtlettes with their milk chocolate and their caramel. Oh, my God. It is so good. And there's chocolate basketballs. All that is perfect for your watch party, which begins 2 o'clock on Sunday. Also, Becky Ditzel wants everybody to know the Easter candies are half price through Saturday. So don't miss out on these special deals. Great stuff for the Grizzlies. And then, of course, the back end of Easter, Dinstall's always makes it sweet. 5 locations by my house in Laurelwood. Then there's Germantown and Collierville. There's where they make it. And there's the one downtown. If you haven't been to the one downtown, you will love that. And then, of course, where they make it is on Pleasant View. Speaking of sweets, one of the sweetest guys in sports in Memphis, that would be Pete Pranica. He is the TV voice of the Grizzlies. I love it that it's the Lakers. How do you feel about that?
It's going to be a really tough series. And, I'm hoping that we can keep the Faker fans and the bandwagon Laker people out of FedEx Forum so that we don't hear bursts of applause every time LeBron James does something.
We used to have the fakers, right? You had the floppers. So there's a faker who's a flopper. Anthony Davis, man, just touch him and he'll go down. He's a flopper.
Yeah, he is. And that's going to be a key if Xavier Tillman can get physical with him and see how well he holds up. I mean, he's not ended the season well, speaking of Anthony Davis, but he came up just big enough last night for the Lakers, and just really a remarkable collapse by Minnesota.
Speaking of which, when you watch guys that you called their games forever, like when I'm doing it for the Tigers, then they go away, right? I watch them as pros. There's nothing there where they're going to take on your team. When you see Mike Conley, who was unbelievable last night, and Kyle Anderson had 13 assists in that game. How do you sort that out? What's that like?
I'm happy for them. On the one hand, I think, the Timberwolves would have been a better matchup for the Grizzlies, but then you hate to see friendly faces on the other side. But no, those are two really, really good people that I've gotten to know through the years, and I'm thrilled for their success as long as it doesn't come at the expense of the Grizzlies.
You talked about how tough this matchup is, and clearly it's tougher, I think, than Minnesota would have been. The Grizzlies are the slight favorites in this overall series and for this first game. Is that surprising at all to you?
Yes and no. I mean, some people are looking, 2 seed, 7 seed, best home record in the NBA. That gives the Grizzlies an edge. The fact of the matter is Lakers are playing some really, really good basketball because they've been healthy and they've caught a nice rhythm. So, slight favorite at home in game one. I'm not surprised by it because I think this is going to be a very tough, very competitive series. And whoever is able to come up with the big play in the big moment, that's the team that's going to end up winning the series.
Well, that's scary to me because both LeBron and Anthony Davis are guys who are capable. As Kenny Smith said this last night, the reason that they beat Minnesota last night, obviously Minnesota really played terrible down the stretch, but LeBron and AD know how to make big plays in critical pressure times.
Except for Anthony Davis, a 3-shot foul.
Oh,
that's all he has to do is just stand there and the game's over.
Right. Now, that was, as LeBron called it, and AD apologized for it, that was a brain fart, is how it was referred. And they were fortunate. How about those 3 pressure shots by Conley who almost missed the first one? I mean, he's something else.
Yeah, like I said, I've gotten to know Mike through the years. I've done a lot of work with him in some of his charity events. Again, thrilled for his success and was pulling for him to make those free throws on multiple levels because, like I said, and I think we agree Minnesota would have been a better matchup for the Grizzlies. But, great shots by him and great shot by the TNT crew to get his reaction after that first one, just barely danced over the front edge.
No Adams, obviously. No Brandon Clark. We know that for sure with the Achilles. Probably won't see him for half of next year. But you still have AD. He's playing. Who can stop him? Can Tillman match up at all?
I think Tillman, with his physicality, can make his life uncomfortable. And I think that's really about all you can do with Davis if you don't have the length and the size. I don't know that you put Santi Aldama on him. The Grizzlies are going to have to change up their coverages. You just can't say, you're going to be the only guy who's going to guard him. So, Xavier's going to take a turn. I think Jaren's going to take a turn. And which means Jaren's going to have to be really, really smart about his level of physicality and his fouling, because if Jaren Jackson Jr. is in foul trouble this entire series, this is not going to end well for the Grizzlies. I mean, he has to be an 18-8 minimum guy, I think, for the Grizzlies to win this series, but preferably 20-10 would be even better.
Is he the most important guy, or is Ja, who's got to create, or is Dylan Brooks, who I'm assuming will have the assignment of taking on LeBron for the majority of the games?
For the last couple of years, Brevin and I have agreed that this team will go as far as Jaren Jackson Jr. can carry them, because he is a matchup nightmare, unlike very few other players in the NBA. He can hit threes, he can go in the post, he can hit the mid-range, he can hit the floater, and obviously leading candidate for Defensive Player of the Year. So I think Jaren is going to be the bellwether whether or not the Grizzlies win this series. Now, having said that, obviously, Ja's got to be a 25 to 30 point guy, 6, 7, 8 assists, keep the turnovers down. But the other key is Grizzlies, when they get in trouble this year, Dave, you know this, they dribble penetration, and sometimes they have really struggled with that. And Minnesota struggled with Dennis Schroeder last night. And Schroeder, in his games against the Grizzlies, throughout his career, no matter what uniform he's worn, he's been rough on the Grizzlies.
Well, he actually, I guess, had more minutes last night than D'Angelo Russell, didn't he?
Wouldn't surprise me. I didn't look at the box score, but yeah, Russell was awful last night, and that's a thing that kind of concerns you, because maybe he's due for a breakout game, because he's a guy who can score in bunches too.
All right, another 50-win season in the regular season, which we know we really more are going to look at postseason now. It used to be you could brag on that, but you've been around for all 50. Which is the most accomplished, do you think, of all those teams?
Of the last, all the 50-win teams through
Sure.
the years?
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously you have to go with the conference finals team, that went in and took care of business. You go into Oklahoma City and you close out a series. That was amazing. Obviously, you get swept in the conference finals by the San Antonio Spurs, which there's no shame to that. I think you have to look at that. How far do you progress? If you win 51 and you don't get past the Lakers in the first round, I think a lot of people will look at the season and say, yeah, 51, but.
Right.
And I think it would certainly rank as a disappointment if you can't get past this first round.
I'll tell you this. If this team gets to the Western Conference Finals, though, you're going to look at this team, because this team will have gone through the Lakers with Anthony Davis and LeBron James, and I think there's a good chance it'll be going up against the biggest rival now and the 4-time champion Golden State Warriors.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, if the Grizzlies were to make the Western Conference Finals this year, then yes, you're definitely talking about a team bordering on legendary status because of the teams that they had to go through to get to the conference finals.
Best team you've seen this year, Pete Pranica? Don't say the Grizzlies. You can't use them.
Did not. I would say Milwaukee, except their 2 games against the Grizzlies, were not competitive.
Right.
I like Boston. I think Boston, they've got offense, they've got defense, they've got unselfish players. They've got a good young coach in Joe Mazzulla. I just think that if anybody has a chance to knock off Milwaukee as the favorite, I think Boston very well could be lifting the trophy when this is all over.
I think you're right about that, 100%. Who would be your MVP?
I mean, I go with Jokic simply because Dave, I look at the numbers, and the on-court, off-court is just incredible. And to me, that's who is the most valuable player. If you don't have that player, what happens to your team? If you don't have that player and you totally fall apart, that tells me he's the most valuable player. And you look at the on-court and off-court net ratings, and it's like this massive, I think, like 20-plus points per 100 possession difference, whether or not he's on the floor. I think Embiid has a case, certainly. Giannis certainly has a case. To me, those are the 3 best. You can put names in a hat, and whoever you pull out is going to be a worthy winner. But if I have a vote and I don't, it'd be Jokic.
It is interesting to me because what would Philly be without Embiid? I know they have another superstar, but where maybe
fair point.
I don't think they'd be in the position they're in. Those are the two. Of course, you always got to throw Giannis in there, just because he can hurt you so many different ways. All right, last thing, real quick. I don't know if you have a vote on this, but there's about 100 people that do on the All-Pro teams. How do you feel about the salaries of players, the bonuses they get, or the ability to get a supermax contract coming down to media members? And I don't. Are coaches in on that? Where the All NBA teams are produced?
I don't know if the coaches are involved. I know that team broadcasters were eliminated because of the bonuses tied to All NBA and the feeling that media members, team broadcasters would vote for their own guys in order to help them get the Supermax. So it's a slippery slope, but I would hope that the media members who do vote take it seriously enough and understand the gravity of what they're helping to determine, that they don't vote for their hometown guy just because. Because every once in a while when they release the votes, you see that there's always like one or two, like, what were you thinking? And you're just voting for the hometown guy. So,
or there's an axe to grind between a media member. I've seen this in the Hall of Fame voting for baseball.
Sure. Yeah. You just don't want to vote for a guy.
Right. And what that bothers me a little bit, because that's not just a vote. That you're talking about determining a guy's salary.
Exactly. I think it's particularly difficult. Again, I don't know who is all involved in the All NBA balloting. Like I said, team broadcasters, for this very reason, were taken off the list about 4 or 5 years ago. So I don't have a vote for anything, as it turns out.
My friend, I cannot wait till Sunday. I'll see you down there. Looking forward to it myself. The Grizzlies and the Lakers. This is exactly what you want. If you're going to be a team that's capable of winning championships, go through the best. And you're talking about AD and LeBron. This is where legacies for teams are made.
Exactly.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. We'll talk to you next Wednesday.
Dave.
That is our guy. That is Pete Predica, voice of the Grizzlies on the TV side. We take a break. When we come back, it's time to pick Harbortown, the RBC Heritage. Mickey Barker, Johnny Lyon, and J-Mo and me will put our heads together in just a minute.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, stay tuned in to Real Sports Talk. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
People sometimes ask why neither Sunrise location is open for dinner, and the answer is simple. Being the best two places in Memphis to get breakfast or lunch served fast and fresh made just for you is a hard enough job without tackling dinner too. The idea of just being open for lunch and dinner is so that people at both Sunrise on Jefferson and Sunrise East on Poplar can concentrate on doing what they do best and doing it better than anybody else. Sunrise is only open for breakfast and lunch because that's the kind of dedication you deserve.
Get 15% off when you buy a set of BrakeBest Select or Import Direct brake pads and 2 rotors through April 25th at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Wendy's $3 breakfast deal is a bacon or sausage egg croissant plus small seasoned potatoes for $3. It's the breakfast that don't miss. So if you did miss Wendy's breakfast, don't imagine. Fresh cracked eggs, sizzling sausage, crispy bacon, and block out those hot, buttery, flaky croissants. Croissants don't really make a sound, but if they did, for a breakfast that don't miss, Wendy's is that breakfast. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's $3 breakfast deal.
Limited time only. Participating U.S. Wendy's. Select a request $3 breakfast deal to obtain discount. Not valid for a la carte or combo orders.
Have you ever wondered what's inside your air ducts? Hi, this is Lauren Choate with Choate's Air Conditioning, Heating, and Plumbing. If you are one of many who suffers from bad allergies, especially in the Mid-South, and would like to improve the indoor air quality of your home, then Choate's Air Duct Cleaning could be a solution for you and your family. Air duct cleaning has been proven to help people with allergies and other respiratory issues by removing buildup of debris from your home's air supply. Air duct cleaning will also help eliminate dust from building up in your house. Therefore, you don't have to dust as much either. And air duct cleaning is also shown to help improve the performance of your air conditioning and heating system. Choates is the name you can trust for all your indoor air quality needs. So call Choates today at 755-4797 or visit our website at choateshvac.com to schedule a free video inspection to help you breathe a little easier. And remember, Choates, let our family serve your family.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Oh, yeah, it's a PGA Pick'em Wednesday. They're at Hilton Head. And all of a sudden, Hilton Head, by the way, has become a designated event. So this is an expanded field because they're all there for the big money. Winner gets $3.6 million. $20 million is at stake. I'm only going to say this once very quickly. I've got about a $5 million lead. That's all I'm going to say. Mickey's going to go first. J-Mo's going to go second. Johnny, defending champion, third. And I, because of my dominance last week, will be going probably last for the rest of the year. You know, I don't want to get too ahead of all of that. In the meantime, I double-click to make sure I keep mine. Is that correct? All right, so let me start. Mickey Barker, you are on. Mickey, tell me what your sense of the Masters was. Your favorite storyline. Is it Mickelson?
Well, I would never say that, not being a very big Mickelson fan, but
nor am I because of Liv. I agree.
That's exactly right. So, yeah, I think it's John Rahm winning there. I think being the fourth Spaniard to win there, something about their short game and how they can drive it all over but still get it up and down for par and make a lot of birdies. Just something they play very well there for some reason.
Johnny Lyon, your best storyline from the Masters?
It was disappointing for Rory.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, the same scenario every year. He's trying to get the Grand Slam. But I thought Phil Mickelson really was a great story. Nobody really thought he had any chance at all.
No.
Of course, Rahm, I think, was, the hands-on favorite and hard to beat Rahm. I mean, he's kind of a bully out there.
Rombo, as they call him. Hey, let me ask you this first, Johnny, then I'll ask Mickey the same thing. In the case of McIlroy, and also I want to say Justin Thomas did it. I'm trying to remember who the third guy was, where in the middle of the round, they are literally talking to the player about what's going on, what his next shot's going to be. You heard the discussion with the caddy, but it was very invasive. And I was really surprised that in a major they would do it. And I wonder, because the first guy to do it was McIlroy, he didn't make the cut. What is your sense of that being a distraction, Johnny?
I totally agree with you. I can't believe that Rory agreed to do that, in a major, sort of distracting, being on live microphone as you play. But, they're trying to attract people, I guess, more viewers. But that was weird, yeah.
It was right. Mickey, what do you think?
I didn't like it for the Masters. I was very surprised that the Masters allowed that. When NBC was doing it earlier in the year, the smaller events, I had no issue with that. I thought it was pretty cool. You got some insight to what they were thinking. But the one with Justin especially, and then he tanked right after that.
He did.
He couldn't hit a shot after he talked to him on television.
Well, and then he couldn't wait to get off too. I mean, he had a putt and he goes, "Look, I got to go," and he basically threw the earpiece that he had to his caddy. It's like, "Hey, I got to get down to it. See ya." And I thought that really was a distraction. Mickey, I just got a email from the good folks at Memphis City Golf. You aware of that organization?
I do know them fairly well.
Yeah, I think it was actually signed by you. Just to let everybody know, because of the crazy weather, you're going to be on cart path only at Galloway all the way through the month. Is that the new deal?
We are. We're going to finish out the month on the path there at Galloway. Like it said in the note, we've had such hard weather over the winter. That bad freeze we had in December really took its toll on a lot of Bermuda grass. And then the added play that we have at Galloway due to the Audubon down for renovations and Pine Hill not ready to open yet. We just feel like we need to give the Bermuda a chance to get going, get established for the season.
What about Fox Meadows? Will that?
We are still going, 90 degrees when we can, when it's dry enough.
Mm-hmm.
The fairways there are so plush and such good shape that we're in good shape as far as being off the path there.
And then I got to ask you about Pine Hill because, two things I got to ask you because people keep asking me. Pine Hill, when's the target date? Is it end of May, middle of May? And then the last thing is, so you're not going to be specific on that. I guess we're waiting for grass to grow better. And also, I've had a couple of people say, are you ever going to have driving carts at Overton?
We are. I just left Overton just a few minutes ago, and we do have our occupancy certificate for the clubhouse. We still are waiting on the electrical panel, unfortunately, for the maintenance barn, and that is holding us up on the carts. We are, over the next week or so, going to have a few limited carts, maybe 8 to 10, or whatever we can charge in the new clubhouse. But it's still going to be a few weeks before we have the full fleet. But over the next couple of weeks, we will definitely start having a few riding carts there at Overton.
All right. And are you really going to be open in May at Pine Hill? Tell the truth.
I hope so. We're waiting on the construction company. They've been behind over the winter getting the parking lot ready, and we cannot get open until we have a place for people to pull in off of Mallory and Park and operate our temporary clubhouse there.
All right. Let's make some picks. And Mickey, unfortunately, $201,600. Not much last week. Who you got?
Well, obviously, having the first pick, I'm going to go with Scheffler right off the bat. So, pretty easy pick for me.
It's the same strategy I employed last week. I'm going to go with Patrick Cantlay this week. He's been at the top of this leaderboard the past couple of years. He's in good form. I'm going to take Cantlay.
Johnny?
Going with Cam Young.
Cam Young.
Yep. Good young player.
Boy, there's some good players up there. I'm going to take a flyer on a guy who played really well and then just couldn't get it going on Sunday. Like, all the bad breaks happened. I just think he's a great player. I'm going to go with Victor Hovland.
Fantastic. You guys left me both of the Texas boys, so I'm absolutely going to take Jordan Spieth to go with Scheffler as the second pick.
Okay. J-Mo?
Very Texas-centric. I like that. I'm going to take this is tough for me. I don't think he's ever played here. If he has, he hasn't played well, but this just seems to me like a Tom Kim golf course. I'm going to take
I love Tom Kim. That's out of nowhere.
I'm going to take Tom Kim this week.
This guy's going to win a lot, I think. I'm really high on Tom Kim. Huh? Johnny?
Yep. Going with Colin Morikawa.
Colin Morikawa.
He played pretty good in the Masters.
Yeah.
He's on my list as well.
He did. I think I'll go with Matthew Fitzpatrick. He's another guy that's going to win a lot of tournaments.
Good form at the Masters, too.
All right, so, Mickey, now we go with 50 and above.
Well, I might as well go with two. I've already picked two of my favorites, so go with the third, Ricky Fowler.
Wow. I did not think you would go there. All right. J-Mo?
Great form at this golf course. 51 this week, Matt Kuchar.
Oh, you took my guy. All right, that's what happens when you're last.
When you have a $5 million
lead. So, Johnny, who you taking?
I'm taking Denny McCarthy.
On my list, great one.
Benny McCarthy.
Denny.
Denny,
yep.
Let's see. I think I'm going to go Kevin Kisner or Maverick McNeely.
Maverick's on my list, too. It's a good one.
Kevin Kisner's ranked 53rd in the world, though. He's the highest ranked of those guys. I'm going to go with Kisner. So there you go.
He's going the wrong direction. Being 53rd, but
He has, but he can turn it around right here.
that's true.
He's just been waiting to drop below 50.
Once I pick him, Mickey, that's
They go straight to the top.
like chicken soup. It's healing. So Mickey's got Scheffler, Spieth, and Fowler. J-Mo's got Cantlay, Tom Kim. I love that kid. And Kuchar, Cam Young, Colin Morikawa, Denny McCarthy for Johnny. I've got Victor Hovland, Matthew Fitzpatrick, and Kevin Kisner. They've made a couple of changes. They've made the rough tougher in this. Johnny, how much you think it's going to change? And this is the best field I think they've had forever.
Yeah, really good field. Plenty of money they're playing for. I definitely like the young guys, that can bomb it and keep it in the fairway.
Mickey, your thoughts on some of the changes and how competitive you think this thing's really going to be?
I think it will be very competitive. It'll be, again, like another major since it's the designated event. But, having the rough up there doesn't make a whole lot of difference because there's not much room for rough because they're so tree-lined. So, again, I think it'll come down to a putting contest, I hope.
All right. Mickey Barker, Johnny Lyon, we appreciate it. Week 2 in the books. Thanks you so much, guys.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Dave.
good picking last week, Wolo.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Johnny. I really do. One thing I did not mention, it's a great story, and that's Tiger baseball. University of Memphis went to Ole Miss after they got roughed up pretty good at FedEx Field in Memphis against Ole Miss last week. So it's a middle week game. Don't want to go crazy. But the Tigers blew a 5-run lead in this game. Then came the 9th inning, top of the 9th, at Ole Miss in that raucous ballpark. And you know what they did? They went back to back to back. 3 home runs in the top of the 9th in a row. And they beat Ole Miss. I think the final was 10-9 or 11-9. 11-9. So they blew a 5-run lead, but now they split the season series. They win on the road in Oxford. I can't remember the last time they did that.
It's a road team series.
And they end up winning or splitting the season series. It's clearly the biggest win in the short tenure thus far of Carrick Jackson. So this is just the beginning. Wait till now he's going to get some of his guys in. It's still a young team. I'm impressed that he could go to Oxford, especially after they got roughed up the first time. Shows some stubbornness and some stick-to-itness by this baseball team rallying behind their new coach. Gotta think that's a good sign for them. Congratulations. Final segment of the show brought to you by Conway. It's supposed to be, I think, 80 today. Getting up to, there's a hot heat wave going on north of us. Record highs all over the place. Beat the rush because it's going to get hot here. Schedule that $69 super tune-up air conditioning check up with our friends at Conway. You actually save money on your tune-up because it makes your system efficient, so you save it on your MLGW bill. Also, it keeps your system lasting longer. So in the end, you're not buying a whole new system, and they're not cheap. So you can not only save money, but you prevent those costly breakdowns when it gets really hot. So keep your family cool all summer long by doing the tune-up. 16-point super saver tune-up from Conway. Call Conway at 384-3511. That'll do it for us. We'll see you mañana.
Let's say you need a new car, so you go to a